I know what's happening here.
Like,
I get it. I get it.
And
I don't think I can fix it. You're so stuck on what you've done in the past. What you do right now doesn't really matter. Why can't you have two jobs?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I tell you why. It's an ego thing.
She kept him alive through prison bars, paid his bills, raised his child, waited for his promises to mean something. The moment he came home free, he decided flipping burgers was beneath him. Judge Lynn Toler exposed every layer of that ego. Subscribe first, then let's get into it. Judge Lynn Toler had already heard a lot by the time this couple walked in. She is not the type to be shocked easily. But even she paused at this one. 11 years of history, 4 years of marriage, 1 child between them, and a gap between these two people so wide it had stopped feeling like a rough patch and started feeling like a permanent address.
I heard a frustrating case this morning. Psychologists say that overcoming adversity is one of the hardest tests of any marriage. The couple I met today brought a lot to overcome when they came to divorce court. Mr. and Mrs. Haywood, the two of you have been together for 11 years. You have been married for the last 4. Ms. Haywood, you say you are tired of waiting on him to change.
Tired of waiting on him to change. That sentence alone carries 11 years of weight in it, because she did not walk in screaming. She did not point fingers from the second she sat down. She walked in carrying something far heavier than anger. She walked in carrying hope that had quietly turned into grief. So what did she say she was waiting for? Not diamonds, not vacations, not grand romantic gestures.
employment, emotional change, respect, honoring what we actually signed up for to get married.
Of all of those things, what is the most meaningful to you? What's the one thing that...
Loving me for who I am and the change that I've made throughout the years and being there for him throughout all of these years.
Why do you feel that he doesn't love and respect you?
Because of choices that I've made in our marriage throughout the time that we've been together and the way that I talk to him.
She wanted to feel loved for who she had become, not punished for who she used to be. And right there, in that single answer, something unusual happened. Something you almost never hear inside a courtroom. Most people who show up in situations like this come locked and loaded with a list of everything the other person did wrong. They have rehearsed it. They have ranked it. They are ready to perform it. She did not do that. Instead, she turned the mirror on herself first.
Sometimes because I yell, he feels as though I put him down as a man. I degrade him as a man.
First of all, I want to compliment you on self-awareness. Rarely do litigants come out here and fess up to what they're doing, what their wrong is. So I want to give you kudos for that.
Thank you.
You said, though, that you don't feel that he loves and respects you. You gave me the why you don't think he loves you and respects you, but what is he doing that makes you feel that way?
Verbal can tear you down.
Even Judge Toler stopped. She gave her credit for it openly. Because in that room, honesty about your own flaws is rare currency. But here is where things shifted, because the judge was not going to let it stay soft. She pushed. She needed specifics. And what came out next was not a complaint about household chores or forgotten anniversaries. What she said next quietly restructured the entire story.
And you're in divorce court, right?
Yes.
You're hurt and you're angry about something.
He curses.
That's what I need to hear. Tell me what the anger's about.
I raise my voice. He actually cursed and tell me what he's not going to do, how you not going to provide for us as a family. It was good enough to take care of him while he was incarcerated, but not good enough for him to do once he was out of incarceration. He promised me that he would have a job, he would look for a job on an ongoing basis. Going to the library for an hour is not looking for a job.
She visited him in prison. She kept their family breathing while he was gone. She carried everything on her back and told herself it was temporary, that once he came home, things would shift. They did not shift. He came home. And the weight? It stayed exactly where she had been holding it. That promise he made, the one about the job, about the grind, about stepping up, she believed it. She held on to it the way people hold on to things, when they have no other choice. And now she is sitting in a courtroom, telling a judge that going to the library for 1 hour does not count as looking for work. What she does not know yet is that when the judge starts asking him the questions, the real ones, the ones that cut through the excuses, What comes out of his mouth is going to be far more revealing than anyone in that room expected. So now the judge turns to him, and what she finds is not a lazy man, at least not on the surface. He has a criminal record. That is real. That is a wall that does not come down easy once it goes up. Finding work with a record is genuinely hard, and Judge Toler is not the kind of person to pretend otherwise. But then, she asks the question that cracks everything open.
Mr. Hayward, you have a criminal history, which makes it difficult for you to get a job, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. And I understand that. But you said something that I thought was fascinating in your papers. You said you're not thinking about doing fast food because you want a career. Now, given the disabilities that you have as a function of the past that you have, aren't you being a bit unrealistic about saying you want a certain kind of job, understanding that having a career may be at this juncture not available to you until you've got a history of some kind of good of employment? Do you understand what I'm saying?
He has a safe
Yes,
serve.
I'm talking to Mr. Hayward.
A man with a record, a wife carrying the weight, a child in daycare, and his answer to the job question is, fast food is beneath him. That is where the sympathy starts to quietly leave the room, because here is what he actually said. Not what someone assumed he said, not a paraphrase, what he actually put in his own papers, in his own words, before he even walked through that door.
Yes, I want to have a career that I could have and help provide for her. Fast food, busting around like that's not going to do nothing.
I want to be 6 feet. You know what I mean? I really, I want to be tall. There's nothing I can do about that. Given that, I'm not going to keep buying size 12 shoes. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I understand you want a career, but you're not in the position to get a career now. So why don't you do what you can, however you can, while you can?
Read that again slowly. He wants a career. That part is understandable. Every person wants to build something real. But this is a man coming out of incarceration, with no employment history to stand on, a wife drowning in bills, and a child who needs things. And his position is that McDonald's is simply not an option. Not because he cannot physically do it, because he does not want to. And that right there, that tiny distinction, is where this whole story lives. Judge Toler did not let it slide. She came back with something that hit harder than any legal argument could.
That's what I'm trying to do. As of right now, I'm an electrician apprentice.
That Taliba helped him get the
Yeah,
job
you
for.
did, but that's what I'm
And he
doing.
doesn't even appreciate that.
How I don't appreciate it, I do
At
appreciate
my
it.
job, I was doing my job, and I was networking and helped them get that employment. That was for a couple of days a week.
Stop right there. She found him that job. She networked. She used her own connections, her own time, her own energy to hand him an opportunity on a plate. And somehow in his version of events, he is the one grinding, and she is the one not appreciating it. The gap between his reality and her reality was not just a misunderstanding. It was a chasm.
He's
All
an
week.
electrician's apprentice.
And I'm getting
That's
paid.
all right.
That's
And he's
twice
getting...
a week. That's not
It's
the
better than
other
nothing. I
days
would-
of week. He can go look for a job, not sit in the house and watch TV all day, watch cable. And I'm at work all day.
2 days a week. Electrician apprentice. A position she built the bridge to. And the other 5 days? Cable. Couch. The same house she leaves every morning while he stays behind. Now ask yourself something. Is this a man who is struggling against a system that is genuinely stacked against him? Or is this a man who found a comfortable floor and decided it was close enough to the ceiling? He had an answer for all of it.
Then I drop off our child, pick up our child.
And I don't watch
From
TV
school?
all day.
Daycare.
I'll pick him up too. We both do it. Don't say you just do it. We both
What,
do
are
it.
We
you
have
home
days
all day
set.
and
No,
your
I
child
don't-
is in
I don't-
daycare?
Yes.
I don't be home all day.
What are you doing all day?
Look, for 3 days out of the week, I work. When I'm home, I got a book that my boss got for me. I read through that so I can study. I'm being an apprentice. Man, so he's trying to make sure I know what I need to know so I could be an electrician. So I get a license, be able to start my own business. That's what I'm trying to do.
And I get that. Here's what I would say to you. There are people out there that are one thing at a time, people. I'm doing one thing, so I can't do anything else.
One thing at a time, he said. He is studying. He is preparing. He has a book. He has a plan. And in his mind, that plan requires him to be unavailable for everything else. Extra income, extra effort, extra presence. But Judge Toler caught exactly what was buried inside that answer. Because people who are truly in motion do not stop at one lane. They do not use a study book as a full-time excuse while their partner works, picks up the child, pays the bills, and comes home to a house that looks exactly the same as when she left. The book on the table was not proof of ambition. It was a prop for an argument he had already decided he was going to win. And the judge? She was just getting started pulling that argument apart. The job conversation had already done damage. But then he pivoted, and this is where a certain kind of man always pivots, when the work argument starts losing ground. He said he does the house, laundry, cleaning, holding things down at home while she is at work. In his version, he is not sitting idle, he is contributing in a different way, just not the way she wants to see.
Mr. Hayward, what is your primary concern with Mrs. Hayward?
She don't appreciate me for who I am. What I do, like, as she said, I don't have a job. I do make sure the house is clean. I make sure that she ain't got to do laundry. I make sure I'm holding my part.
Is he holding down the fort?
Holding my part.
The laundry don't got to be done every day. The laundry get done
But
at particular
but-
time.
but-
hang on, hey. My question to you
It's not
is,
enough anymore.
excuse me?
It's
I
not
do
enough.
believe I was speaking.
She cut him off. And honestly, that single moment tells you everything about where this marriage had arrived. Two people so locked into their own frustration that neither one could even finish a sentence without the other one breaking through it. But her words landed hard. It's not enough anymore. It was never enough. Anymore. That word carries a timeline inside it. Because there was a time when things were different. And she remembered exactly when that time ended.
Is he doing stuff around the house, but you just don't feel like it's enough because it's not everything?
Not anymore. Mars used to clean like he's supposed to. I come home and the same stuff sitting there from yesterday. Like, I have a rule in my house. The dishes can't sit in the sink overnight. I got to come home and do the dishes.
No, you don't.
If I'm at work all day, why should I come home to the same stuff that was there this morning if you was there doing something?
Just back up. You do some stuff, but do you hold it down for real at the house?
I clean the house. She come in the house and she just throws stuff everywhere. Don't pick it up because she's rushing to get to work or she's tired.
Are there dishes in the sink overnight?
No, it's not. No.
Ever?
Not anymore,
No,
because
it's
I gave Mars an ultimatum of things that I wanted and accepted.
But once you give a man an ultimatum about what you want and he does it, you have to say thank you and be appreciative and can't be mad about the fact that he didn't do it before.
She had to issue an ultimatum just to get the dishes done. Not to get a second income. Not to get emotional support. Not to get anything significant or complicated. She had to draw a hard line in the sand just so she would not come home from a full workday to a sink full of yesterday's mess. And here is the detail that stings. He did eventually do it. After the ultimatum. Which means he always could. He just needed a threat to get there. Judge Toler pulled back at this point, stopped the back and forth, looked at both of them and said something that reframed the entire room.
Let me see if I can do this in a way that doesn't give me an endless back and forth about who's doing the dishes and who's doing what. Both of you say that you don't feel appreciated. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
If one side wasn't feeling appreciated and the other side's happy, you understand what's going on. How do you think that both of you ended up feeling like you're not appreciated?
Both of them. Unappreciated. At the same time. In the same house. That is not just a marriage problem. That is two people who stopped seeing each other somewhere along the way, and neither one noticed the exact moment it happened. But what she said next was the part that broke the surface completely.
If I'm crying about things that are going on, Mars won't wipe a tear. Mars won't hug me. He act like I'm not crying. He act like I don't even exist. It's times we walk past each other if we're there together, like we're ghosts, like we're in a place, but I'm there, he's not there. He'll walk past me.
How do you think you got there?
By enabling Mars, for one, for accepting things from Mars that I chose to accept. But there's times that I say, I'm not doing it no more, Mars. I'm not giving you nothing financial. If you call me petty, then call me petty. I'm not paying nothing. I'm only going to take care of our child, our household bills, and nothing else. No extra stuff, no nothing.
Okay.
Like ghosts. That is the exact phrase she used. Two people living inside the same walls, breathing the same air, sleeping in the same bed, and feeling completely alone. She cries. He does not move. She breaks down. He looks away. She exists in that room and somehow he manages to make her feel invisible inside her own home. That image of walking past each other like ghosts, that is not poetic language. That is a woman describing what slow emotional abandonment actually feels like from the inside. And then the judge asked him directly. No softness, no cushion, just the question, straight. Do you comfort her when she cries?
Did you hear what she said about when she's hurt and crying and
Yes.
broken, that you do not comfort her? Is that an accurate reflection of what does or does not go on at your house?
That is accurate.
Okay.
Very accurate.
And why don't you feel the need to do that?
I'm not as, I guess, supportive of her when it's crying. Like, I didn't get shown how to I guess, wipe a tear, or, like, I'm thinking that she's a big girl, get over it. Like, that's my apology.
Well, now, Mr.
He said it himself, out loud, in front of a judge. She's a big girl. Get over it. His wife, the woman who visited him in prison, who paid the bills while he was locked up, who raised their child, who networked to find him a job, who set ultimatums just to get the dishes clean, who cried alone in the same room as him, and his internal response to her tears was get over it. Not coldness that built up over years of being hurt. Not emotional walls from some deep unresolved conflict between them. His own explanation was simpler than that, and somehow more chilling for it. Nobody showed him how, so he decided she did not need it. Some confessions do not need commentary. They just need a moment of silence to fully land. There is a moment in every hard conversation where the soft gloves come off, where somebody stops being polite and starts being precise. Judge Toler had been patient. She had listened to both sides. She had let the back and forth breathe. That patience ran out here.
Well, now, Mr. Hayward, let me ask you this. You got a television?
Yes.
You ever watch a television show?
Yes, I do.
You ever see anybody comforted on television?
Yes.
Can you just imitate? Do you know what I mean? It's not that hard. I mean, you can figure out how to put an electrical box together, but you can't figure out what to do with that right arm. If your woman is crying, you can't figure out how to circumnavigate that shoulder and do that. That's what you're telling me as a logical matter, that you've seen it on TV, you know how it works, you know what she needs, but you can't figure out how to do it. So let's not pretend.
Okay.
You just don't want to do it.
Right.
That's the issue, right?
Yes.
So be clean about that and be clear about that. You don't want to comfort her.
At times, no.
It's
don't.
like he wanted to
Okay.
see me suffer.
I don't want to
because
see
of
you suffer.
He said yes. Not, I struggle with it. Not, I am working on it. Not, I have trauma around emotional expression. He said yes. He does not want to comfort her. At times, he simply does not want to. And the judge made him say it out loud, so there was nowhere left to hide inside that answer. But Toler was not finished, because this was never a case where only one person needed to hear something uncomfortable. She turned to the wife next, and what she said was just as sharp, just delivered differently.
Mr. and Mrs. Hayward, here we're not going to get anywhere because both of you are feeling used and abused. Neither one of you listens. Both of you have hurt each other so much in the past that you're so stuck on what you've done in the past that what you do right now doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's not true, because by me changing, I went back to church and was trying to change my life. That has been a change. He calls me a hypocrite because there's certain things that I have not stopped doing. I have not stopped completely smoking, so I'm a hypocrite for that. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes.
I'm not quite sure what you're telling me, Mrs.
Like,
Hayward.
I
am speaking. Part of your problem, Ms. Hayward, is that you don't listen to people. And not only do you talk when they're talking, you're not looking to understand what somebody else is saying.
Exactly.
She interrupted the judge, mid-sentence, while the judge was addressing her directly about not listening. That is the kind of moment that does not need a dramatic music cue. It speaks entirely for itself. After all of that, the job arguments, the dishes, the ghost metaphor, the crying admission, the judge asked the question that was sitting underneath all of it. Is this marriage even worth saving? Does he think so?
Mr. Hayward, is this marriage rescuable at all in your eyes?
Yes, I think it is.
If there was one thing that I could get her to do that would allow you to get back into this particular game, what would it be?
To allow her to give me a chance to lead. And not only that, to just listen to me.
Give you a chance to what?
To lead, to try to be a man. Lead this family.
He wants to lead. A man who will not flip a burger, who does not comfort his crying wife, who needed an ultimatum to do the dishes, who watched television while she worked double shifts. That man sat in a courtroom and said his one request was the chance to lead his family. The audacity of that answer was loud enough to fill the entire room. And then, completely unprompted, he said something that nobody was ready for, something that ripped the floor out from under his entire argument.
What specifically would she need to do in order to give you a chance to lead? Because if she's been primarily responsible for everything, the fact that you don't feel like a leader is on you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you have things you won't do in order to do for the family.
I do what's necessary. Like, I've been in jail because it's been times where as though we didn't have it and I have to sell drugs, and that's what I do.
Do you know that they did it was a book, and they said, at the end of the day, the low-level drug dealers make less than minimum wage people?
Yes, I know that.
So you chose to do something that was less than minimum wage, but you won't go and do a minimum wage fast food job. How much sense does that make?
He sold drugs for the family. That was his version of providing. That was him leading. And now, with no record of legitimate work, a wife holding everything together, and a child watching all of it, he still will not walk into a fast food restaurant and fill out an application. He would rather risk prison again than risk his pride at a drive-through counter. This is the part where Judge Toler stopped being a mediator and became something closer to a surgeon. She found the thing buried under all the excuses, and she pulled it into the open.
At the time, that's how I was thinking. Like, I don't do that now. I'm not in the streets no more. I'm done with that. I'm trying to move forward.
Why can't you have two jobs? One doing the electrician thing and one doing some fast food or whatever. Why can't you do that?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I tell you why. It's an ego thing. It's an ego. The drug thing wasn't going to work for you because the low-level guys don't get paid that much. They get killed or they go to jail. But it's a really cool thing to do. It fills up your ego. You can feel cool slinging something on the street. But you can't, oh, no, absolutely what it is. You could, but you don't feel cool flipping a burger. And I get that. But you got to get over that when you have a family, That ego thing has to step to the side, and you can step up and be the leader that you want to be if you're willing to do things that are difficult for you.
That is the whole case right there in one paragraph. He could risk his freedom dealing on the street because that felt like power. But standing behind a counter in a uniform, that feels like surrender. And in his mind, surrender is worse than prison. His ego had a price tag, and his family had been paying it the entire time. What made this moment cut so deep was not the judge's tone, it was the silence after it. Because there was nothing left to argue, no comeback, no redirect, no version of events where that logic holds up under daylight. The mask had been sitting on the table since the beginning of this hearing. Judge Toler just finally picked it up and held it where everyone could see it clearly. The ego had been named. The excuses had been stripped. But she was not done speaking, because 11 years of carrying something does not empty out in a single courtroom exchange. She had one more thing to say, and it landed like a stone dropped into still water.
But I might not do a fast food restaurant application, but I might put an application of fresh grocers. I'm just not going to McDonald's or Burger King.
We're talking about like twice a month.
Not
Like
twice.
in 30 days.
If you're not,
we could count in 30 days when he's looking.
If there was one thing he could do for you that would get you back in the game, what would it be?
To be consistent. To be consistent with looking for a job. Follow up with a job. You could fill out an application all day long, but if you ain't called the job back and said, I put in an application, I did this.
He doesn't have his grind on. He does the minimum.
He could do grind when it comes to the streets and do all of that, but when it comes to being a regular citizen that won't risk his freedom and our family, because it's not just him that he risked when he made them decisions. It was me visiting him. It was me doing that, and then once he got out, then it's like, all right, give me time. You need 6 months to look for a job?
He does the minimum. That phrase did not come out heated or dramatic. It came out tired. The way someone says something they have been turning over in their mind for years before they finally say it out loud. And what made it land even harder was the contrast she laid right next to it. He had a grind for the streets. He had energy, discipline, and commitment when it came to doing things that put their entire family at risk. But consistency as a husband, as a father, as a provider in the most basic sense, that version of him showed up halfway and called it enough. And that is when Judge Toler said something that nobody expected from someone sitting in that chair.
I know what's happening here. I get it. I get it.
And
I don't think I can fix it because I don't think anybody's really listening. But I'm going to say it anyway, just for my own personal edification.
A judge, sitting in a courtroom built for resolution, saying she does not think she can fix it. Not because the problems were too complicated, not because the situation was beyond repair, but because fixing anything requires both people to actually hear what is being said. And in that room, on that day, the walls were too high, and the hurt was too old for the words to get through. She said it anyway, though, because that is who she is. What came next was not a legal ruling. It was something more lasting than that, a prescription for two people who had forgotten how to be on the same side.
Mr. Hayward, if you want to stay married like you say you do, you have to get your grind on. And getting your grind on means working a couple of jobs, doing a whole lot of stuff. Don't do the best you can. You do whatever is necessary. Don't just hum along. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't just put in an application, go home. Go to the library, look up a couple of things and go home. You just keep going and going. If you don't have a job, looking for a job is an 8-hour-a-day job. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
8 hours a day, the grind on until you get it. And if you're not working, you make sure that the house is clean and everything is cool, because she's carrying a lot on her back and on her shoulders. If you want to lead, do so with action and not wait for her to give you permission to lead. Do you see what I'm saying? You could have your grind on, you just don't.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And as he continues or begins to grind, you shut up. You say less. You
Yes.
don't bring up, well, why didn't you do it last month? If he's doing it this month, kudos for doing it this month. Do you know what I'm saying? And if he has changed his behavior, even though if it's something he should have been doing from the very beginning, you compliment the change in behavior, because change is an extremely difficult thing to do.
Two people, two instructions, both equally uncomfortable to hear. To him, stop waiting for permission to be the man you keep saying you want to be. Leadership is not a title someone hands you. It is a direction you start walking in and do not stop. To her, if he moves, let him move. Do not drag last month into this month. Do not make growth feel like it arrives too late to matter. Because if every step forward gets met with a reminder of all the steps he did not take before, he will stop walking. But she pushed back, gently, honestly, in a way that showed she understood the theory. She just could not find her way out of the feeling.
It's going to be hard for you to change. It's going to be hard for you to come at him in a manner that is less than assertive and angry. You can stand your ground without being rude or nasty or otherwise all on him. Do you understand what I'm
Is that
saying?
what you say is how
And
you say
every
it?
time each one of you gifts the other one of those things I just told you to do, then it is the other one is obligated to gift something back. Do you understand what I'm saying? When she comes to you in a reasonable tone of voice with a request, you come back with granting that request. When he comes to you with an effort, you come to him with a thank you. You're not going to be able to balance the books. If you're going to keep going back to what he did and all that jail time he did and all that kind of stuff, then give up.
I only said that because
I understand, but you live there. You are in a washing
Yes.
machine. You think like this in a one big circle about, I would say thank you. Why should I have to thank you? Da 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 da.
A washing machine. The same spin, the same water, the same cycle repeating until the machine breaks or someone finally opens the door. That is what this marriage had become. Not a war, not even a fight anymore. Just a loop. Hurt producing distance. Distance producing silence. Silence producing more hurt. Round and round until neither of them could remember what started it or what stopping it would even feel like. She had been here before. That detail came out quietly near the end, almost like a footnote, but it carried everything.
You want to be somewhere other than the washing machine of this unhappy marriage, correct?
yes, this is not the first time I actually tried to do the marriage counseling. These things.
I spoke to both of you, and I told you both what you needed to do.
Yes.
As I opined earlier, it appears that I've done it only for my personal edification. I'm sure Joe heard me. If one or two of you heard me, hallelujah. This matter is adjourned.
This was not their first attempt. Someone had already sat across from them, said the hard things, pointed at the exit out of the washing machine, and they had gone home and climbed right back in. And now here they were again. Same room, different day, same spin cycle. The judge adjourned, not with a verdict that fixed anything, not with a resolution that tied it neatly, just with the quiet, heavy sound of a door closing on a conversation that had run out of new things to say.
What I was telling the Haywards is this: if you want things to improve, you can't focus on yesterday and your sorrow, but you have to focus on your strength and what you need to do for tomorrow.
Yesterday and your sorrow. Strength and tomorrow. 11 words that hold the entire weight of this case inside them. Because the tragedy here was never that these two people were broken beyond fixing. The tragedy was that they kept looking backwards, at the prison visits, at the dishes, at the ultimatums, at the tears nobody wiped, and called that looking forward. You cannot build tomorrow out of yesterday's rubble if you never put the rubble down. So here is the question this case leaves sitting with you, and it is worth actually thinking about before you scroll past it. How many people do you know, maybe even yourself, who are stuck in their own version of that washing machine, spinning through the same argument, the same silence, the same distance, waiting for the other person to change first? And at what point does staying become the harder choice, not the braver one? Drop your answer in the comments. Because the conversations happening down there are just as real as anything that happened inside that courtroom. And if this case made you feel something, if it made you think about something, hit that like button, because more cases like this are coming, each one more layered than the last.